energy management even more important than time management.
Hey, superfans, superstar Freddie D here. In this episode 189, we're joined by Joanna Zhang, founder of the Operations Genius. Joanne helps entrepreneurs and leaders scale sustainably by building plug and play teams and systems that truly work. With her core value on power to grow at the heart of everything she does, Joanne blends smart strategy with conscious leadership to create freedom, flow, and long-term growth. Get ready for an inspiring conversation about scaling with intention and learning with purpose. Welcome, Joanna, to the Business Superfans Advantage podcast. Great conversation that we had before we started recording, and welcome from one of my favorite cities, Sydney, Australia. I envy you all the time because I love that place and been there, as I mentioned, 6 times, and I'm looking to probably go back there again next year. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Freddie. I'm so grateful to be here.
So, Joanna, I know that you have a pretty cool company where you're really helping a lot of businesses with getting them VA help with the things that they need. But how did this all come about? I mean, it just didn't pop up yesterday. There's a whole story of how you created your agency and what led to the creation of that agency.
Right. Thank you for asking. Well, I think everyone starts something probably must have a reason behind it. There was a story. Some of them are planned, some of them are not. And mine was like not part of the plan. But somehow it was kind of destined. Why I'm saying that is because when I started my own business, I actually was a self-employed financial planner. So totally different profession. But at the time, the transition from a professional into a business owner, I had a lot to learn, right? And then in terms of the mindset and the way of operating everything. And I also realized that I have a lot of things need help from the behind scenes, because a lot of things I'm not good at. And then there's certain things I don't really enjoy that much either. So I started to delegate working with different VAs from the Philippines to start with. But I had to say I had a lot of challenges. I was working with them, but somehow because I was quite dedicated to make things through, so I can actually started to customize the team within my budget to support my business to start with. Because at the time I couldn't find a model that really I can, because most of them are like a full-time, part-time model. I don't have that much budget and I can't hire 5, 10 people, in my team. I don't have that much work either. So I couldn't find a solution. So even though that was very hard for me, I figured out a solution. I started to support my own business. Then I thought, why don't I share that with other business? And that's literally how this business is born. And without a plan, but somehow destined. Why I'm mentioning about it because 3 years, 4 years ago, I had a soul awakening event. From that event, I found out my soul mission, soul power, soul purpose. And it is actually this lifetime. It is to help team and their members to grow, to create a better world. And now I understand, even though that was very hard to work with a team of people, but somehow I made it through because that was part of my mission and passion. And somehow it's destined, yeah, to work out this way. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good story because, in a sense, you came up with a need because of what you needed for yourself. And then you realize that other people are going to have that need. And so, how can you really help those people? And that's how basically a business was kind of born.
Yeah, that's so true.
So, how did you start finding customers for the VAs that you had working for yourself? What's the story with that?
I'm a natural networker and it is a networking people, like I started to actually, initially I had a stage of trying digitally because at the time that was close to I up running a few years and I started to have some thinking of digital marketing is coming up, right? So it sounds like a simple easy without me touch so many things I can really deliver something. Then I started to try out on the digital marketing side. There was some outcome, but somehow there's still something missing, right? Because I'm a natural networking person, but I actually let go of that part of me behind the scenes, behind the computer to do something somehow cold but become warm connections. So I started to really open up to say I need to go back to the people and then to really connect with them. Because by simply thinking, use a simple, easy way to generate the outcome, it sounds all right. But if there's something is missing from our soul, there's a sign for us to make some changes. So from that time, I started to go to the networking, go to different events and get to know about people and connect. And even until now, the majority of the leads are actually coming from the networking, to be honest. And then another channel is LinkedIn, like a professional outreaching. But I have to say, after try all different methods about networking, people to people, or word of mouth and digital, like a LinkedIn or newsletters and social media, or even email marketing, whatever it is, the majority of the leads for me, especially, is still coming from networking and word of mouth. Mm.
Okay. So one of the things that I have found in dealing with a lot of businesses is a lot of times people have a hard time letting go doing the stuff. And I think that, you recognized it early on that you couldn't do everything yourself. And that's when you started getting VAs for your own business. But I think when people are in the same boat, but not necessarily the same, because a lot of times people know that they probably should let go and get somebody else to do it, but they refuse to do so because they have the mindset, well, they can't do it as good as me.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's so common. And somehow you say that because I'm not DIY style, a lot of things I'm not good at. I recognize it. So I started to outsource. Somehow it's quite easy. However, even though in my situation, my delegation journey is just layer by layer as well. It's not like 100% suddenly I let go of everything. If something is within my comfort zone and I feel like I can do it well, I have that kind of mindset too. Like, oh, need to really give it to the others. How about I just do by myself? But in saying that, during my business growth journey, when I delegate my incompetence, let's say the things I'm not good at, I started to delegate my competence part and even the excellence part. I find out it is our decision at the end of the day, because there is a balancing act when we actually holding everything to our plate. We're gonna turn out for sure one day. And if I want to grow and we don't want to let go, we somehow we're just stuck over there and feeling frustrated and unhappy. That was happening to me because when I started my own business, I was a project manager too. For project management, for me, is a competence part. I can do it well. But somehow there was some passion missing over there. Some people, they just is their excellence or even genius. So at some stage, I had to really decide to let go of that part. Of course, I need to allow some errors and mistakes and some unknown, unexpected events happen. Maybe sometimes even affect our credibility. Like it does happen. However, without that step, I wouldn't be able to like today really focus on what I truly love to do, like sharing the right messages out, focusing on helping team members to grow. It is a decision at the end of the day whether we wanted to short term pain and for the long term benefit, or if we want to just feel like comfortable but actually bearing long term pain. It's a decision at the end of the day, I think.
Sure, you're absolutely correct. And the other part of it is that I learned is 80% as good as you is 100% you not doing it.
Yeah, right.
So that's the thing is, okay, it's not as good as you, but you're not doing it. So you can be doing something else.
Mm.
And I'm sharing this for our listeners because of the fact that, sometimes it's not going to be as great as exactly like you want it because that person might have a little bit of a different look at it and different perspective of it. But the reality is it still got done. It's satisfying to the customer. Customer's happy, which is what's important at the end of the day. And more importantly, you didn't have to do it.
Yes, 100%. And we can do something else that really energizes us. And even say by doing that, we're actually giving others opportunities. I think on that, it is on the foundation, it is a trust issue. And I noticed from my personal life experience is that when I actually didn't trust other that much, ultimately I don't really fully trust myself. So I feel like it is ultimately it is our own left lesson probably to see there's a couple of things. One is a trust. If we don't trust others, I found out from my personal experience is that because I didn't believe myself enough. So I was lacking of the confidence. Because when I was lacking that, I don't have enough. I won't be able to pass on to others like fully trust. So another thing is that I found out is that I was controlling freak because I wanted to make things the way I wanted. And I thought my way is a highway. I actually didn't realize there are unlimited possibilities. When I actually give others a stage to really flourish, they actually somehow surprise us with a different outcome.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a better outcome than you would have had because they're looking at it from a different perspective. So there's a book called Unreasonable Hospitality, and it's a great book. I don't know if you've ever read it or not, but I would highly recommend it. And it's about Madison 11 something as a restaurant in New York. And they took like different people. One person was just a waiter, and they enjoyed craft beer. And for them to kind of compete, instead of competing with wine, which they couldn't compete with some of the other type of restaurants, they got this person who never did this, but they empowered them to set up and manage a craft beer. And that was their uniqueness of the restaurant. And that person all of a sudden just came to life because it was something that they really were passionate about. Didn't have the skill sets to do it, but they made it happen.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is it's important for people to understand that sometimes that person that you may think probably can't handle the job may surprise you. They may level up because of the fact that they're given an opportunity, and that gives them the energy to go to a whole nother level.
Yeah, so true. Because when you're talking about the leadership, it's totally from management either. I personally experienced that from a doer to supervisor to manager and to a leader. And that's totally different stages. And as you mentioned, if we're just simply delegating something to the others and feel like they are fit or not fit, whatever it is, it's just on a supervisor or management level. But in saying that the true essence of the leadership, actually my spiritual mentor mentioned to me, I was so inspired by the sentence is that the true essence of the leadership is to help everyone to become the best version of themselves. It's kind of like an empowerment. It is empower them to grow and to unleash their potentials. So by doing that, actually, like what you say, 100%, just give them the opportunity to find out some unlimited possibilities behind it.
Let's take a quick pause to thank our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Ninja Prospecting, the outreach team that makes cold connections feel warm. Here's the deal. Most service business owners are drowning in spammy DMs and cookie cutter LinkedIn messages that never get a response. Sound familiar? Ninja Prospecting flips that script. They craft human first outreach that actually sounds like you, and more importantly, gets results. No bots, no fluff, just real conversations that open doors. If you want to stop wasting time on dead end messages and start filling your pipeline with qualified leads, talk to my friend Adam Packard and his team. Head over to ninjaprospecting.com to schedule a chat today, and be sure to mention you heard about it right here on the Business Superfans, the Service Provider's Edge. And hey, if you're the kind of person who likes to get started right away, you can join their free community at school.com/ninja prospecting 7704. It's packed with tips to maximize your connections and start making the right new ones. All right, let's get back to our conversation.
Sure. So let's dive into a little bit more about your agency. And, one is how do you find people to become part of your team? And then what makes your agency and your team different than some of the other VA companies out there in the marketplace?
Right. To start with, I actually worked with agency for many years. I actually found my talents from their agency to start with. And I actually did all my trial and errors with that agency actually during those years. By doing that, because I already have a talent pool. So people, if any clients need any talents outside of that scope, we can certainly find it. And another thing is that because all the VAs we are onboarding, they start to work with me first, supporting my business to start with. Basically means that I've already tried out on them. I know the capability, possibilities, and potential, everything like that. So when client coming to us, they don't need to really train or filter or fine tune whatever it is. We just can customize the team as a mature foundation to support them and customize based on their needs. But after that, I worked with the agency. I went through a stage of, because I started to work with more and more clients and more people get to know about this. I started to work with multiple different agencies because every different agencies had their own specialties and their own strength. I started to have a different, like what you're saying, as ecosystem, different service providers. So by doing that, we started to have a multiple different kind of diversity of the skill sets and the type of talents as well. But one of the agency I worked at the very beginning, unfortunately, they actually changed their business model. They stopped working for the certain model for the VA. So we actually stopped working with them. By saying that, I started to manage the team by myself. Actually, I try out with different agencies, but somehow I think it's divine gave me an opportunity to really let me to experience. Like they gave me an opportunity, create some challenges, somehow give me opportunity to really have a confidence to manage the team myself. And actually, when I do what I said, also seems like very difficult things in our life. Is like if we have never done it, well, maybe first we'll think, oh, it's so hard. But actually, when we overcome it, just do it. It was, oh, is that it? Something like that, right? I think many people may have experienced that. So for me, it's the same. I started to manage the team because many of the VAs, when they're working with us, even though our workflow, because we provide flexibility to others, a lot of them, they don't have a steady workload, but they still actually be with our company for years because we have the same intention is to grow together. So all these team members, they still with me and we together still helping different clients. And interestingly, like in recent past 2 years, I think their talents started to approach us directly because they can see what we're doing in the market is quite unique in the industry. From a VA point of view, they can find any agency that they can actually provide their skills of work to the other clients. But for the opportunity for them to really grow into someone to the best version, probably everybody is looking for the opportunities. So we find that those kind of talents who really have the mindset wanted to grow into the best version of themselves. So we started to work together. So our team is getting big, not really huge bigger, but the quality wise is enhancing and then slightly bigger and bigger depends on the clients we started to service. You also ask about a difference. So first of all, I think our VAs, they all trained VAs. They don't need to learn certain skills for different areas because they're already specialists in the field. They just need to understand how different businesses operate. So like a plug and play, quickly get into that, take the action with it. Another thing we put it in as layer is that we have a project manager in the place and also for quality assurance, because that was my personal challenge when I was working with the VAs. I wanted to pass on my task, come back with a peace of mind according to the deadline with the quality because I don't want to spend time and energy to trace and to nudge on it. I wanted to focus on my genius. So all those layers during the past years, whatever I experienced as challenge, we plug in those layers to support business owner to really focus on the genius because we don't want to add more stress for the business owner. That's the thing we don't want, right? As a business owner. So capability, flexibility, and quality. Another thing is accountability because I found a lot of time if I work with a VA, the company agency like hands off, I work with the VAs. But a lot of time I found that business owners like probably learned a lot of things, but there's no actions because they don't have a accountability partner beside them to remind them, hey, that's your priority. That's what you plan to do. And then we are here now. What is the outcome for this? Can you give us feedback? It's something like it on the side, constantly keep us moving. And sometimes we may forget during the business, whatever it is, if there is accountability partner over there, we can always sure we're on the track, like according to our plan. I think there's a few things we wanted to add as a value. That's why actually we got recognized last year by Stevie International Business Award as world first fractional VA service and made us realize that we at least probably the only one or at least the very first one to start with this model.
Oh, excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So can you share a story with us, Joanna, on how you brought in some VAs into an organization that in turn the VAs helps streamline that whole operation and they became what I would call, one of your biggest advocates, but I prefer using the term business superfan, that was in turn promoting you to other colleagues that they know that in turn got you more business because of the work that your team did for their company.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Before we actually help a lot of solopreneurs, a lot of them are consultants or coaches. We actually helping their individual business, look at their solopreneurs. They started to refer us to their clients because most of their clients are business owners too, and they need a lot of operations support. So we create a great partnership over there. They helping with the mind and we helping with the hands-off work. So we're already a team by working together and to help our mutual clients. There's one group. The other group is another group we actually started to help. We can add value of B2B service providers. We found the majority of this kind of business, they already have their existing team, but often their own business they forgot to look after themselves, right? Also, sometimes if the client's work started to come up, they don't have enough capacity. So our team members plug in to help them. I'll give you an example. One of our clients, they are actually a fractional COO service. They providing the operation strategies to the tradies or constructions companies. And by saying that, because they are the operation side by themselves, sometimes their clients areas that we can help them. And gradually for certain clients, they feel like they're ready to hire the VA ready, and they connect us with that business directly. And then they structure their process and systems, and we can stuck in to really make those plans happen. So that's how we work together as well. Another strategist, we're working for their own business as well as helping their clients. And by saying that, it's like a super fans, because all the clients we're helping, we are together as a good partners, and we're helping other partners together. And the client is word of mouth starting from there.
Yeah, because that word of mouth is the most powerful marketing that you can have. Because one thing is, you can do a lot of ad spend on getting your message out, but at the end of the day, social proof is what really makes the difference. And my success when I was selling software back in the day was my customers were my sales team. So I would get introductions into other businesses. And somebody, I've shared this story many times, but one of my fastest sales was because somebody called me and said they were doing overflow work for someone who was already a customer of mine. And that customer said they needed to contact me to get the same system so they would have no data issue exchanges. So the sale was, how much and how fast can you get it to me? And that was it. There was no need to look at the software or any of that stuff because Jack said he needs to buy it. And so that guy just called me up and said, how much? How fast can you get it here? So what you're really talking about, Joanna, is once you get that momentum going where you've got other people that are becoming your sales agent in a sense, or what I kind of coin as the business superfan, you can't buy that kind of a PR because your whole sales cycle is completely collapsed. Because now that person's not going to go shop around to other different VA services. Their friend said, and that's the key thing, it's their friend said, you need to talk to my friend, Joanna. And that's the verbiage that takes place.
Yeah, so true. And we all need a reliable partners in our life, isn't it? And even for ourselves, I wouldn't really recommend someone if I really don't know and I haven't worked with and I'm not sure about. And it's something that for us as a business, if we dedicate to provide valuable, sustainable support, service, and to really add value to the other business journey, I believe when they think about others, they will share that naturally. It's a very natural process. There's no forceful in it, and there's no KPI or something driven. Those things is no longer needed. From a logical side, maybe some people create a system, all those sort of things, but naturally it's about connection and trust, long-term partnership. I believe so.
Yeah, and it's getting the team to, I use the example of a racing rowing team. So you think about a racing rowing team, and everybody has one oar, not two oars. They have one, and you've got the coxswain as the person keeping the beat and leading the team, and there's 7 other people that are rowing, and you got to get them all in synchronization. So they all got to be on the same mission, going in the same direction at the same time. Otherwise, that boat's not going anyplace. It's not even going in a circle. It's just wobbling. But once you get that boat rowing, you're just like a business, you get everybody in that business ecosystem in line and rowing, that boat just flies. And that's really what's important is what you're doing is you're helping bring in person that can assimilate into that business very quickly because they bring in the skill sets and they're already a professional from that perspective. So they don't need to be told what to do. They know what they need to be doing. It's how it's applicable to that company. And so you're tweaking it for that company, but they can hit the streets running.
That's so true. Wow. And I think the intention and direction is very important, either for our clients and for the team members, everyone. Yeah, and because that's the foundation for us to, as you mentioned, it's like on the boat, we have the same directions. Otherwise, if someone just purely focusing on money but not growth, let's say, for example, we won't work for the long term. Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody, at the end of the day, your VA that's stepping into a company is your front line. They don't see you in the company. They see the VA in their company. So that's your representation of your business. So it's very important that you have the relationship with the team like you do. And that's one of the things you talked about. I just want to reemphasize that because that team member, when they go into a company, whether it's physical or remote, that's the impression of your company. So I always tell people that's your most important asset because that's the front line. People don't see you all the time, but they see your team and wherever they're at and whatever they're doing. And so that's where I think a lot of companies sometimes fall, whether it's working with contractors, VAs, or employees. The bottom line is you need to be treating those. And I had the best example from a guest on a show, and I'm going to steal his verbiage. And he called them director of first impressions. And that's the person that's really in charge of your first impressions.
That's true. And it's by saying that because everyone, if we all on the same boat and we all think the same directions, everybody representing as a we is a team effect. And because there is no longer a personal effect.
Bingo.
Yeah, and it's a team effect of working together, holding the responsibility, learn from the experience, even if there's a mistake, then learn from it, and then to really try to improve and grow from there. I think that's about the meaning of the whole process of to get working together as part of the ecosystem as a super fan.
Sure, because everybody's on mission and everybody's rowing together. If someone is not in sync, the team will come together to help that person get in sync with everybody else because everybody's pulling everybody up now. So it's a whole different mental mind shift because now it's for the betterment of the team. And once you've got that energy and going, that becomes contagious. And that goes into when your team goes into a customer, they're excited, they're happy of where they're working with, AKA your agency. So they're reinforcing the customer's decision to pick your agency to provide the services. Because I worked with a service-based company a couple of years ago, and they work with a lot of contractors doing language interpretation services. And the mindset before I took over was that the interpreters should be grateful that they're getting work. And I'm going like, no, you know, that's the person that's going to the hospital. That's the person that's going to the court. That's the person going to help translate the training program to non-English proficient individuals. That's your most important asset. And so what you're doing is bringing that whole group to being in sync like a championship racing team.
Yeah, but at the same time, we respect everyone's uniqueness and respect their own free will too, because a lot of time there can be disagreement in different directions. Everybody has different focus. I mean, not talking about the big ones, the individual focus. So we got to just respect them and then work on based on their free will to help them whatever we can to add value to their own personal growth journey, as well as we can add value to the clients growing together. Yeah, because empowered to grow is as part of our movement.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I took over that company, there was a person that was dealing, I've shared this story before, but it's a great story to complement what you just mentioned, is they were dealing with depression. So there was days that they couldn't make it to the office. And you can't terminate somebody because now you got a discrimination kind of a situation going on. And when I took over, she almost quit a couple times because of the way she felt she was treated and everything else. So when I took over, I did completely the opposite. I gave her more responsibilities. And by giving her more responsibilities and more encouragement and more empowerment, I was pulling her up because now, you're in charge of this. This is, you're responsible for this. And all of a sudden they started to feel like they had some value. And I'm just piggybacking on what you just said. And the more someone feels that they're contributing and they're part of the conversation and their opinion matters, whether you use it or not, they're heard, which is what you just said, is that really transforms somebody to where now they start going above and beyond because now they're empowered. They feel recognized. And that person that I'm talking about took a department that was doing under $100,000 a year in document translation to $225,000. So it grew by $125,000 and change in 1 year.
Wow, that's amazing. I think by identifying individual team members' status and their own feelings and own free will is so crucial. And I think talking about the depression, we had one case that one of our team members, yeah, she's actually in the leadership team. Recently, she encountered the depression symptoms. And because of that, she, as a certain period of time, she couldn't really respond, within the time frame and she used to do. But interestingly, what happened is before, because she worked around in the HR area, she couldn't understand why someone can't really just respond immediately. Like why she was having that kind of feeling towards others. And after this experience, we actually had a discussion. I just really trying to encourage her to realize and to feel this experience, what made her feel and what she has learned from that experience. I believe everything happened in our life. There's a reason behind it. And because of that experience, she now understands some people in a certain emotion state, they do really have that state. They can't really react as normal, like as usual. So at least for her experience, she started to have a empathy, more understanding towards others because she personally experienced it. But at the same token, so that's compassion part. But in the same token, because she couldn't really act according to our company, certain discipline or guidelines, we gave her some warning too. Because there's both acts, it's a balancing act. Because I transfer from a title leader to servant leader now practicing become a spiritual leader stage, is to balance the compassion and the boundary. So in this case, I think whatever happens in our team members' life, we try to help them to understand what are the both sides of the consequences, understanding more, but same time bearing the consequences. So I think our approach, we constantly wanted to make some internal system enhanced so we can really help the team members to grow from different aspects. And by saying that, it's because of that, many of the team members stay with us for years, even though they're not steady workloads, because they realize that the intention from our company, it is really to grow from love. It's nothing about the punishment or those sort of things. They just have to learn to bear the certain consequences to grow. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, it's basically in business, you've got to punch through several different, levels. As you rise as a leader, as you just mentioned, I mean, there's leaders that I would say are empowerment leaders, and then those are leaders that are directive leaders. And usually you'll see the ones that have the empowerment mindset. Their teams are thriving, energized, happy, fun, looking forward to going to the office because at the end of the day, it's not work and home. It's called life. It's one place, it's AKA life. And the ones where there's directive, oh man, I got to go to the office.
Drive there.
Right, because they're there to collect a paycheck.
Yeah, because that applies to the kids' education. I always feel like while I was young, I didn't really love study. But when I grew up, I actually studied the financial planning very hard. I realized that there's something in our hearts we truly really value and have a passion. No one need to put anything on top of us, like we just in the drive to do it. The same as our kids, I feel like if they don't have a drive, no one can force them. But if they have a drive, no one can stop them. Same as our team members. I think at the end of the day, it's about respect, truly respect everyone's feeling. And that's why our business called Operations Genius is saying that because we wanted to help our clients focus on their genius and help our team members to focus on their genius because we believe energy management is even more important than time management. When we're in that state, heart flow state, we got it to be more energized and wanted to have more inner drive to contribute, to create, to collaborate, to really grow together. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes back to the racing rowing team. Everybody's got the energy. Everybody's on the same mission, but they're energized
Yeah.
and they feel appreciated. One of the things I wrote in my book, Creating Business Superfans, one of my quotes is people will crawl through broken glass for appreciation and recognition. But unfortunately, it's not given enough.
Yeah.
And it's one thing I always say, hey, Joanna, thank you so much for the extra effort. I really appreciate the extra work that you did. You feel great. Okay. It's nice. But it's another thing to say, hey, everybody, I want to take a moment to recognize Joanna for the extra effort that she did on this particular project. Because of her, our customers happy. She helped them get through this particular project, etc. Completely different dynamic. You feel like a rock star. The team is excited for you. And at the same time, the team was going to want to level up because they want to be that person that gets recognized in front of everybody else. So everybody levels up.
Yeah, so true. We actually created a leadership board program within our business, and then everybody is actually based on different behaviors. We have a checklist, and every time we have an overall team meeting, that's very exciting time that everybody see who is the genius of the month, what a leadership board everyone's on. There's not much like a prize, whatever it is, but it's like everyone has a direction to go for, and I think that's part of the inner drive part to get better.
Yeah, but you made it fun. That's the part of the other thing. It needs to be fun. And so when it's fun, people are excited about it. They look forward to it. And that's how you pull people up. And that's how your team is helping companies level up because of the fact of the resources that you're helping them take on the things that allows them to free up and become more strategic about their business growth.
Yeah, that's our mission and passion too, because we don't just want it to be a task doer, we want it to become a long-term partner on the side to help business grow, navigate through different period difficulties or challenges, whatsoever we call it. No matter how much they needed us from different period, we're always there. That's the thing we wanted to have a peace of mind, provide a peace of mind to our clients.
So, Joanna, it's been a great conversation as we come to the end here. How can people find you?
I think the easiest way, just find me on LinkedIn and just put Joanna Zhang over there. If there's a multiple of me, just put operations beside it. I believe the right me will show up.
Thank you so much for your time. Great conversation. Definitely would love to have you on the show down the road again.
Thank you so much. See you.
Today's conversation with Joanna was a powerful reminder that real business growth doesn't come from doing more. It comes from letting go of the right things. Joanna showed us that delegation isn't about losing control. It's about creating space for leadership, alignment, and trust. For service-based business owners, this matters more than ever. When you stop trying to be the bottleneck and start empowering the right people around you, your business shifts from survival mode into sustainable growth. That's how you build teams that don't just execute, but elevate your entire operation. And that's exactly what we talk about here on Business Superfans. Building businesses that work with you, not because you're exhausted. If you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss future episodes packed with insights like this. Don't wait another minute. Join the Entrepreneur Prosperity Hub right now on School. Completely free to join and claim your free Service Provider Prosperity Playbook, a 100-plus page guide designed to help you turn service into scalable, predictable prosperity. Join us at school, skool.com/eProsperityHub. Inside, you'll get conversations, tools, and weekly growth plays to help you shift from doing everything yourself to leading a business that works smoothly, predictably, and profitably. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm grateful you're here, part of the Business Superfans movement. Every listen, every action you take gets you one step closer to building your own superfan.
We hope you took away some useful knowledge from today's episode of the Business Superfans podcast. Join us on the next episode as we continue guiding you on your journey to achieve flourishing success in business.